Well, how about that, Owls fans? A season-opening win over in Louisiana, and the debut of the Dunlevie family head football coach for Rice Owls, Scott Abell, was victorious over there in Cajun country. And here our second episode of Rice Unfiltered. Coach being an old baseball guy, we're talking about keeping things exactly the same. So it's a little more rainy out there, at least a little cloudy, but that was fun.
It was.
How about
it was
that
a good
opener,
time.
huh?
Yeah, it's you're always excited for opening weekend, and the opportunity to see this program, which from day one has just worked incredibly hard to get to that moment, and then to see a game plan come together. I find myself now a couple days removed, but feeling the same gratitude for our players, our staff, our support staff. I just think so many people prepared the program for that moment, and just excited for the win, and now ready to move on and ready for the next challenge ahead of us.
Yeah, we'll preview Coach Fritz's Cougars in a bit, but and more game-specific stuff on the Louisiana wrap-up in a second. And with it being Labor Day week, wanted to ask Boss Man about some first jobs he had way back in the day. But I asked you right before the game, you're gracious with your time, putting up with me. How do you feel? And then after the game, you told Jason how you felt. But now that it's been a couple days since, what's the feeling like getting that first win, I say affectionately, out of the way so you don't have to worry about it down the line? You knew it was coming eventually, but what's it feel like now, a couple days out, that everything that goes into it after making the journey over here?
Yeah, well, I think winning football games is hard, right? I think winning the first game in any season is hard. And then winning the first game of a new era is even harder, right? So you put all that together, you're really excited for the program that we're able to put that behind us and really focus on how do we grow the program, how do we get better, where do we move from here. For me personally, right, it's never really about me, it's about the team and about the program, but I find myself excited for what I know this team, this program is capable of as we leave week one.
How about the flows of that game in the first half? A normal-ish game. No game is ever the same as another one, but take us through where you thought it really changed. In that second half, they get things to going. They start running the ball a little bit better, but the defense solid the whole game, but they really held on with those 3 or 4 consecutive drives down the stretch.
Yeah, the first half went probably as good as scripted. I mean, I was really pleased all the way around. We forced an early stop, got them a field goal try, right? And then we put a couple drives together offensively, a couple turnovers, momentum shifters, and really controlled the tempo of the game. I said this in my post-game statements that I thought one of the keys, how do we eliminate the home crowd, right? How do you take the energy, the air out of that new stadium? I thought our team did a fabulous job of doing that, and at halftime when you looked at, I think we offensively we had the ball over 18 minutes in the first half, so that gives you really the ball control, time control that we thought was important in this game. And then as you leave half, the second half started out as planned, right? We get a 3 and out, feel great about it. We take the first, they pin us back deep. I think we start that drive on the 9. We come out, we're making some great plays, great decisions, get it to 2nd and 6. Now we're on the plus 38, almost in field goal range. And I'm going to now take this one on me. I always think you reflect, everyone has a role, and everyone makes great decisions and have opportunities to impact the game in both ways. And I went for a knockout blow with a counter flow play that didn't pay off. Right, we took a 5 or 6 yard loss, and now it's 3rd and 11. Right, I'd say I have a little regret in that, but if that play had hit, it may have put a dagger on them that they couldn't recover from. So, but it didn't happen. They made a play. Forced us to pin them back deep, and they went 99 yards. And the whole momentum of the game switched right there, right? And what I'm most proud about is how we regrouped quickly. I've said to this team, the next play is always more important than the last play. And that showed up, right? We didn't fold tent. We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. We just knew, hey, we're in a dogfight now for 4 quarters. we may have had an opportunity to put this thing away, and we didn't. And so let's fight for full quarters, and that's what we did. And I think you learn a lot about your team in those moments. And I think we learned a lot about our guys Saturday night. We're going to fight. We're going to claw. It may not always be the cleanest, the prettiest, but, man, we can't wait to do it.
How about Quentin Jackson? Yeah, he set his career high in carries early on in that third quarter, and then zip past his career high in yards, ends up with well over 100. Just you knew it going in, and you plan on good players making plays, and even couple in Dalen Alexander there because he had a career high in yards too. What did you see from the running game? Because so much attention in the offseason, obviously, and your tenure here will be about that running game. So what did you think game one to be able – it was defense too, but that running game really put its stamp on that game?
So, I always think week one for a program that's built like ours, an offense that's built like ours, is usually difficult, right? If an opponent has, 5 weeks to prepare for an option scheme, it usually gives that defense an advantage. And so I was incredibly pleased early on. That first half, I thought we executed at a high level, really got the running game going, got our option game going. Quentin made some great plays. Dalen, I thought Chase played really super coming out the gate, making some decisions, really getting on the perimeter of some of our option game, and we got a lot of guys involved, right? You saw Aaron Turner, Drayden, right? We got a lot of guys involved early, and as the second half, as we got out of rhythm, we found ourselves more conservative. I thought we probably held the offense back more than we should have, both maybe schematically and as our players did. I thought, everyone maybe got a little tentative there in the fourth quarter. Now, that's a credit also to our defense. When you're playing that type of defense late in the game, you're very mindful. Take care of the football. Field position matters, right? And so there was a lot of reasons that once you got to the fourth quarter, that game became what it was because you're really trying to protect the football, trying to protect field position, and put your team in a position to win. And we were able to do that. You blink, that third quarter's over, right? I mean,
that same thing.
Because we took a long drive, didn't get any points, and they took the 99 drive and got points. And next thing you know, that third quarter's over, and you're in the fourth, and you're like, okay, we put ourselves in a position to win this football game. So it really kind of changed the mindset of everyone. And that's what it should be, all right? You adapt as the game goes on. But when I reflect on the rushing game, I'm really pleased what it looked like week one. There's so much room for growth, right, when I watch film. I'm excited to see what that growth looks like.
Looking at some of the other post-game notes from after that one, he didn't lead you in tackles, but Peyton Stevenson really played a physical game, and he was up on the line of scrimmage a lot. Yes, they ran the ball a lot too, but who stood out in defense? And then the turnovers. I guess I should kind of put the brakes and back up a little bit, but getting those turnovers in that second quarter helped out so much. Kane gets the pick, and then Banish, the next possession, correct?
Next possession.
That prevented them from scoring going into the half, and a lead you never gave up.
Right. It was such a momentum switch. We talked about the importance of the football, right? And you've heard me say this now over the weekend, and, it's everybody's responsibility to take care of the football. The defense has to attack it, pursue it, and get it back. The offense has to protect it. Special teams has to own their role in the football, whatever special teams out there. And I thought the program, man, what a great job we did in that philosophy on Saturday. And when you talk about what stood out defensively, I'm going to specifically talk about the entire group. I mean, what a group mentality, a team that flew to the football, a pack mentality, and that's who I think we are. I think we have some dynamic players on that side that will show up, right? Ty Morris and Blake, and you mentioned Peyton. Peyton had a fabulous game. I think our safety room, holistically, that maybe I know we've talked about, but they hadn't had a lot of snaps, kind of like the running back room, right? Hadn't had a lot of snaps coming into the game, a little untested, and they showed up, right? When you talk about Hooks, you talk about Jack, you talk about Peyton. That room showed up, and that's exciting for us. But holistically, what a great game plan by Coach K and company that was executed really well by the entire group.
And just the wave of defensive linemen you're able to bring in, and I'm not pretending to know Ty Warren really well right now. I talked to him a couple times during camp, but my gosh, there's no break for the opposing offensive lines, and it's just refreshing to see that. And you saw Mutombo have the game. Onionu forced that fumble, correct? I
Yes,
think that's still
Tony, yeah, he did. Yeah,
Had
correct.
his first career sack. So it doesn't matter. Everything y'all had told me coming into the year, obviously correct, that there's not a starter. It's just pick a name and just let her rip, right?
Well, hey, listen to our fans listening. You know, when I sit in the chair, I'm telling the truth, right? I say, hey, we're going to rotate a lot of guys up front. We liked our depth up front. And the offensive line, same way, if you paid attention, right? We played quite a few offensive tackles, quite a few interior offensive linemen, defensive line, same way. We like our depth on both sides. I thought that played a key role coming down the home stretch, right? When we're trying to finish a game, that up front, we controlled the line of scrimmage all day. We really did. There's an occasional moment where we miss something here or there, but over that course of the game, the line of scrimmage was controlled by our defensive line, our offensive line. And when you do that, you're going to have a chance to win the football game. And really proud of that.
So after the getting back into the wee hours of Sunday morning, I know you had some time with the guys on Sunday. As we record this, it's a day off, much deserved for the team, but how have you sensed them? We talked about you and your staff and what it meant for you.
Yeah.
How did you sense them carrying themselves after a win? Because I know, Coach, you know this, but they wanted to win that for you too.
No.
Yes, themselves, but some of the guys we talked to after the game, we felt so good to get Coach's first win. So how did you see the guys react?
Oh, well, those are the moments as a coach you remember. And it's really, to me, it's what makes everything, the long hours, everything we do, whether you're a player or a coach, it makes it worth it when you see the reaction of your team and what it means to them to get that kind of quality win. You saw guys that had tears in their eyes. You saw hugging everybody. What I told the team, the joy I got from it was that everybody in that locker room cared about one thing, was about winning the football game, right? Nobody, a coach, a player, none of it was about any one particular person or one group. It was about how do we come together to win a football game. And if we can keep that mentality, good things are ahead for us. But it'll be a moment I cherish, right, as I reflect on, my years and, there's obviously moments that stand out. This is now not just one of those moments that I will always remember, right? A great road win by an unbelievable group of men, an unbelievable program at Louisiana. Mm-hmm. Great day for our program.
Yeah, just a wonderful program they are. Let's talk about the transition going against those Cougars. Willie Fritz, 4-8 last year, but he really didn't overhaul the staff, but obviously portal era, got a lot of new players. Of course, Wegman we might get to in a second, but just what do you know about Coach Fritz? Have you had any interactions? I know y'all have been at different parts of the country, but a guy that has some Texas ties, but with the Cougars, like what he did at Tulane was no surprise, and what he's building at Houston, they seem to have a strong coach there, don't they? Oh,
without question. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country, right? And what he built at Tulane, right? When you leave a program, that program continues to sustain success. That tells you what he built. He built it right? The foundation he built at Tulane was strong, and he's doing the same thing at Houston. You can just see that with year one and their improvement throughout that year. And now you watch some of the roster movements they made, even staff movements. Incredible amount of respect for him, his staff, and they have great expectations for this year. As now they really truly are done with the transition into the Big 12 and what they expect of their program. So for us, what a great opportunity to continue to measure ourselves, to challenge ourselves in a non-conference schedule, and excited, right? This is a city rivalry here that I now get to be a part of. Yeah. I feel really honored in that, excited for that, and I'm so grateful we have them here at home.
Yeah. Read my notes, Coach, that I didn't make. You read my mind. What's it mean to be a part of the last scheduled bucket? Hopefully get one on the docket here again soon, but just being part of that old history in the Southwest Conference. And really, the last few times, it's kind of a good football thing. Two teams that haven't liked each other, but I know there's respect both ways.
Yeah, the whole rivalry thing in college football has somewhat now taken a back seat in this new era of the portal, the realignment. But anytime you can have a rivalry neighborhood type of game. I think it's good for your community. So I'm excited about that. You know, I know our players and their players probably have some dislike for one another, you know, sharing the same city. You know, I see it as more a lot of respect for one another. I do, and you know, for our program, we're excited to get the opportunity to go up against a Big 12 opponent, right? A Power 4 opponent, and have them here at home. That's an opportunity that I think you know, everyone in our league, everyone in this new world of Group of Six, you want that opportunity to host a Power 4 opponent. We had that this week, and that's an exciting opportunity for our entire campus.
Let's get off the field in a sense, stay with the game, but a lot of football Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Game's over. You're obviously focusing on the next opponent. Do you get a little time to enjoy it, or is it obviously 24/7? You're always thinking Rice, but any time to enjoy with no NFL yet? You keep up with scores? Do you? I'm sure you have a lot of friends in the coaching profession. You just kind of message them. What's a Scott Abell weekend after a game, or is that even feasible? Does that?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely feasible. Yeah, you know, I love college football. Like, it's been a lifelong love affair with the game, and so every moment I get, I have it on, whether it's in my office, watching the next game. And what's so great about Week 1 is that they play college football nonstop, right? You know, those games on last night. We have UNC and TCU on tonight, you know, as we record this. And typically, I've set my electronics to – I tape every college football game that's on TV of any kind, right? Whether it's on CBS Sports, ESPN, ABC. I have a whole library of them waiting for me whenever I get home, late at night, whenever it is. So, you know, for example, you know, Sunday's a pretty meaty day for us. You know, our staff's meeting all day. Our players come in. We meet, watch film. We do our kind of correction practice. We have a post-game lift. And I get home. It's pretty late in the evening. And but I recorded, I think everybody knows, being from Virginia, I have close ties with Virginia Tech always, and admire the history of that program. And was so excited to watch, you know, Shane Beamer in South Carolina, who I'm friends with, and the connection Virginia Tech, play Virginia Tech on opening weekend. So I'd recorded that game and got home late last night and watched it in its entirety. I think I finished it about 1 a.m. and but loved every second of it. So I am a fan on these weekends. I'm glad to be a part of this industry, and I don't pretend for a moment to say, oh, I don't get any moment to watch them. I do. I take opportunities to watch them and learn from them.
So more of Scott Abell, the guy, and this is rehashing some of what we did in our intro presser, and when you joined us in the booth there, very first time we met, when did you know college football would be the path you chose? And I bring this up Labor Day week and talking about old jobs maybe, but just when did you kind of know, okay, I'm wired, I want to be a college football coach?
Well, I'm wired. I'm not sure. I'm not, you know, I think
the right way.
Well, depends on who you ask, right, JP? Depends on who you ask. But, you know, I don't know if the whole college football coaching scene really came into my thought process till, you know, probably 2006, 7. You know, I knew in middle school I was going to coach for a living. I was going to get into teaching and coaching. I had a grandmother that was a teacher that was very influential in all our lives. I had a mom and a dad who loved and supported our athletic endeavors, me and my brothers, whatever we did. And I just loved it. I love sports. I love competing. And then, you know, it probably wasn't until I had my first coaching job that I knew I was going to be a football coach. And that was, you know, I got released from Kansas City and got my first teaching job, and I was an offensive coordinator for a 9th grade football program, running someone else's offense, but coordinating it, and just immediately fell back in love with my football life that I had left behind in a high school career, and I had a really nice high school football career as a quarterback, but my baseball life took me further, and really connected with that love again, and knew that's what I was going to do forever. But at that moment, I thought, okay, I'm going to coach high school football, right? I'm going to do, you know, I loved it. And that, you know, really up until 2006, that's what I did. I was a head high school coach for years, loved it, thought that was what the good Lord intended for me. And then, you know, a couple of people started poking at my brain about a couple of college openings that were out there. And it didn't really catch my attention too much. I actually turned down the first job opportunity I got offered at Washington Lee because I loved coaching high school football. The good Lord has a bigger plan for all of us, and thank goodness He exposed His plan again to me. Washington Lee, offered me the job a second time, literally a month apart from the two offers. I turned it down, and I just knew then that that's what I was meant to do. Really didn't know why though, because I was going to coach Division III football, not for a pay raise or not for a bigger crowd. I had a huge crowds at my high school program, loved it, but I truly believe that's it's God's intentions for me to move in that direction. That some incredible signs that you can't make up pointing in that direction. I took the job and knew that's what I wanted to do forever. Right, my first year there, I was like, yeah, this is different. I love this. I'm wired for this, and can't wait to do it. And then from then on, it's just grown. To be honest, right? Never really planned my career to say I want to move in this direction. I want it to look like this. I have been that guy that I take a job and my plan is to be there forever. Plant roots, buy houses, get my family near me, and let's grow a program. And that's kind of led to where I am today.
I want to rewind just a little bit because
I know, long answer. I'm sorry.
No, I love it. I love learning more about you in this type of informal setting. And I bug you again about this because I'm fascinated with the baseball aspect. And yes, Coach, we play a little baseball here at Rice. But so you're a minor league catcher. You were a minor league catcher, correct? Or minor league?
That is correct.
Okay,
yeah.
So obviously that affinity for having to be back then grinding and you're actually calling the pitches, but did you know then I'm probably not going to go into coaching and managing and pro ball because I'm sure that if you wanted to, those opportunities would have been there. Yeah. Was it still in the back of your mind? I've got the football past. I want to go in that direction. 'Cause I'm fascinated about the dual sport aspect of so much.
So when I was playing minor league baseball, I was the second oldest catcher in our entire organization in Kansas City in year two. So man, a lot of breaks have to happen. So I was very much aware of the percentages for me to make it as a player. But I would attend a lot of positional meetings in baseball. Like I was a catcher, but I'd go to our infield meeting or our pitcher meeting. I wanted to learn to prepare to maybe one day be a baseball coach.
Okay.
But I did my student teaching between year 1 and 2. And during that year, during my first off season as a baseball coach, I student taught at a high school that had won a state championship in football, historic, and I was student teaching for the head football coach. And immediately then, man, I felt something different. And so then as I transitioned to my second year of spring training and all that, it was in my head, like, I may coach football one day. Like, this whole baseball thing, it's probably got a short life left, right? And so enjoy it. That student teaching experience for me really opened my eyes to, as I get into high school coaching and teaching, I'm probably going to really pursue football more than baseball.
Mm-hmm. Our first visit, I guess our next visit, we have a lot of visits already, Coach, but you were up at Dyken Park with me in the booth, and I think Rice was playing Tennessee at that time. When did you kind of not know, because I just asked you that, but when did you have an idea that I'd hit my ceiling at baseball, but you had that passion? It seemed like you were wired to go in that football direction.
It was more when Kansas City told me I hit my ceiling. Kansas City let me know I'd hit my ceiling, and it's just like you think. It's just like you see in the movies. I walked into our facility in Florida. I was in Florida at the time, and I had to note in my locker to go see our manager. It's just like you hear about, and I knew then, and I was almost relieved. I got married. Christian and I got married after my first full season, and you're not making any money. It's hard to really see the writing on the wall, but I would have pursued it forever. Right? I'm a guy that will figure out how to get it done. But at the same time, when I saw that, I was like, man, I'm relieved. I'm going home. And I was just ready to start my life, right? I was ready to be a husband. I was ready to be a father, actually. Christian and I wanted to start a family early, and I was ready to teach and coach, and I'd had that good experience of student teaching, and so I immediately went home and connected back with old principals and coaches I knew, and said, hey, I want to coach football, right? That was a goal. It was never, I want to coach baseball. People wanted me to coach baseball. But I was like, I really want to coach football. And if you have a baseball job, that's great. And so my first teaching job I coached girls softball, women's softball. That was interesting, learned a lot. In the second high school, year 2, I actually got hired by my high school that I grew up playing at by a new coach there who brought me in on the varsity level. So it was a upgrade, and I was grateful for that. And coached a little baseball from a high school baseball coach at the time who needed a little help. And so a good experience, but never thought I was going to do anything else but coach football once I got my taste back in my mouth of that.
I don't want to assume anything, but was your first job around farming?
Oh, you was.
About your affinity with your family connection to farming in the past.
Yeah, first kind of paying job. When you grow up on a farm, you do a lot of little jobs.
Early riser.
But first job where you say you had to wake up. Yeah, you're going to be somewhere from 8 in the morning to 4. It was a part of the farm, but it wasn't. My dad's partner on the farm was his brother, my Uncle Larry, and on the side they installed these artificial welding troughs for farms that needed to get access to water troughs for their cattle, their sheep, wherever, in unique parts of the farm that maybe didn't have a creek bed, didn't have a pond. Yeah. And so we would go in and install underground irrigation into natural springs, right, level it out so the water flowed right into the trough. You learn a lot about physics, right? You really do, and surveying and some engineering there. My uncle who farmed with my dad went to East Carolina, my uncle went to Virginia Tech, and there's a lot more to farming than let me go get those cattle up and hook them up to the dairy parlor. So I spent that summer with him. The summer's light on the dairy farm. You're planting crops, and it's not a whole lot to do besides milk the cattle. So they did things to make odds and end money, and one of them was the trough business. So that summer, I was a ditch digger is what I was, right? The backhoe would clear the ditch out. I'd have to level it out, get the piping in there, make sure it was all going downhill so the water would flow from the spring. And I spent most of the summer with my uncle because my father did most of the milking. My uncle did most of the cropping, right, of the cattle, and then the irrigation part.
So mostly around the farm, no slinging pizzas or tending or waiting tables?
Never. That was never meant for me. I did get into camp counseling. Okay. I got into some volunteering coaching in youth leagues because I knew I wanted to coach. I knew I wanted to teach. But never anything like that. I worked at Kroger. I would bag groceries for like 2 weeks. I'm like, this is not built for me. And I applied and got a job at an apartment complex, mowing their grass, sweeping their stairwells. That was much more. I'm more of a blue-collar guy. I just need to be busy.
I can tell, and Rice fans can tell that too. This is fun. I know these are always, quote-unquote, easier to do after wins, but I can't wait to do more of these and maybe get some better weather here as the bottom just opens out.
It really does. You never know when, right?
Yeah.
I can hear it from my office. I call it it's monsoon day here in Houston, and people tell me, oh, this is just Houston weather, so I'm getting used to it.
Yeah, wait around 10 minutes, it'll be bright and sunshine.
It does, right? 10 minutes, and the water is drained off of the fields. Now I don't know if the roads are drained, but yeah.
You got the bubble, right?
It's what a blessing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just go in there.
There's always a place to work.
Yeah. That'll do it for another edition here of Rice Unfiltered. Coach, thanks so much.
Thanks, JP. Appreciate it. Go Owls.
Yeah, Rice fight. Coach and I will talk again right before the game. You might have heard the Bayou Bucket coming up on Saturday, and I can't wait. We'll have the broadcast, all that good stuff. You know where to find us. Until then, have a great rest of this day. God bless. Go Owls. Rice fight. This has been another episode of Rice Unfiltered.